Aussie metal guy here with Crannk, and you may see my blue boy Odin floating around on the side here as well. Today I'm having a chat with Gabriel Alves, which is one half of the brothers Gabriel and Lucas Alves from Behind the Horror. They're Brazilian boys that have moved to New Jersey, America now, and based out in New Jersey in America. So Gabriel, I know you've been a busy man with work. Thank you very much for joining me, man. We got this going.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your patience and let's get this done finally.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy time, and it's crazy over there in the US. I'm sure it's a crazy time, man. But first off, man, can I ask a little bit of a bio of who Behind the Horror are, if you had to explain to someone who hasn't heard you guys before?
Well, now it's been a long story, but I mean, do you want the long one or the short one?
Whatever you
It
like,
depends
man.
on the time.
Long one. We've got lots of time, mate. This is our time as the oyster, man.
All right. It's always like a pleasure to talk about our project, but everything started when it was like just two little kids living in central Brazil, and we all started when we're listening to our first band that were really got us into rock and that all that stuff was Nirvana. Before that, where I got an uncle, and I always liked to sing. And in Brazil, we got the it called sertanejo. It's like the country music there. It's very popular. Everybody's love it. And so as a kid, I was like singing, and my uncle gave me a guitar. So, you like to sing? Take this guitar. He was hoping that I was like going to that way, like singing like country music, and then we starting to listen to Nirvana, and one thing led to another. And our first metal band that we listened was Black Sabbath, and that was like everything turning around because we always listen to Black Sabbath on the Rock and Roll Racing. You know that game from Super NES?
Yeah.
And then I was like, it was that time and we were downloading music from like that apps like Napster and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And let me see, well, what is the Black Sabbath? And then I downloaded Paranoid, and it gave me back to that game, and that's all it started. So me and my brother started taking lessons. He started playing the drums. I started to play the guitar, and then all things we gotta start to searching for more bands, heavier bands, and it got heavier. And then we got our first like formation of the band wasn't a Behind the Horror. The name it was Sangria was our first name. All inspired in, I don't know. We used to play a lot of Vampire the Masquerade. Do you know that game?
Yeah.
Like a tabletop RPG. And then we made this band. I by that time it was like we were 13 to 15 years old, and we were already started like making our original songs. But then more bands, and we got heavier and heavier. And then I know we need to change all the stuff. We're gonna change the name, and then at the first on this first formation was two guitarists.
Yeah.
And then the guy just left the band, and we started to Behind the Horror with three guys. We used to have a bassist. I mean, we used to have a lot of bassists. We will get there.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Eh, And then we changed the name. Uh, by that time, one of the bands who most inspired us, sound wise, was Death. When we met Death, was like something explode in our minds, and then we starting make starting to riff sound like Chuck Schuldiner. It was one of my biggest influences on from that part. So what we were playing now, we really love to like, because we used to listen to Metallica and Megadeth, like guys who make riffs and sing, like Max Cavalera from Sepultura for sure is one of my heroes.
Same, dude. You can't
Yeah,
go
mostly
past
because
Max.
he's from Brazil, and like all that story the guys have to, they are brothers too, and I mean,
Yeah.
but Chuck with all that kind sense, nonsense riffs and singing and playing completely different stuff, that thing got me. I need to do something like that too, and then I started to, and then Behind the Horror was born like that.
Yeah.
So we played a couple of shows. By that time, I started making my own festival back in the city where I was living
Oh, yeah?
in, yeah, Anápolis, Goiás. We made a festival called Anápolis Metal. It was like it all started really small because even in Central Brazil, no, I mean for Central Brazil, rock and metal is not popular there, not
Yeah.
at all. But
Yeah.
especially in this city, a lot of guys before us, like in the 80s, they built like a really cool local scene there, because we don't have like big case shows there. We don't have like, we're living really close to the capital of Brazil,
Yeah.
Brasilia, but I mean, so we have to enjoy the metal with what we got, and by that time we got a lot of original bands there. Hardcore scene was really strong, and then I kind of the next generation of this one. So I'm gonna start doing my festivals too, and then I started promoting some festivals, because I mean nobody wants for us to play with the older guys.
So you
So
had to create your own scene.
screw yeah. Yeah, and then the guys were starting, oh, let me play in your festival now. Wow, of course. You guys like, you guys are, you know, that local heroes. You guys, when you're starting to go to local shows and the older guys are having fun on the stage, oh, I want to do that too. But the guys are always like, ah, this is our just kids. So, you see that, you see.
Yeah.
But, and then I started doing the festivals and playing a lot of local shows and playing around in another cities. That was something other bands wouldn't do, because around us, our city was kind of big, but around us a lot of small cities.
Yeah.
But there's people coming here to see our show in our town. Let's get there. And so we're starting building like a route of shows, and everything, other bands starting to do the same thing, and we're starting like kind of touring around with a lot of, it was a really small scene, but
Yeah.
was really nice to do that. And then playing in one of these local shows, like on a small town, we met a guy. His name is Tião. He does the Guava Fest, and he was trying to take the Guava Fest to the United States, and then he involved with South by Southwest. Is a big festival
Yeah.
in Texas,
I've heard of that.
and he he made a way to make his festival on uh not on South by Southwest, but parallel
Yeah.
with, while South by Southwest, you got a lot of things happening in the city. And he asked us like, you guys can make it to the US, and then we started to make some projects.
Right.
And then we got a help from the government there, because in Brazil we have a lot of cultural exchange,
Yep.
and the government helps you to, if you got a good project. And then we got this project. First time we came to the US, my brother, and I mean, we came to the US, stayed here, played the show, was awesome. But I need to get back, because once you get that help from the government, you need to get back to show some pictures, show some proof that
Oh, okay.
you're
That
not
you're doing
spending
this.
the money like, yeah. But my brother stayed here, and I went back to Brazil, stayed there for 2 years, almost
Okay.
3 years, and we split up. During this time, we're trying to work separate to make the album happen. The album gonna release now,
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, I came to the US again, and then everything changed again. Like, not changed, but we stepped up a little because
Yeah.
the scene here is all different. I mean, it's the same because I mean, local shows is gonna be local shows everywhere. Like, sometimes we play for empty venues just for the bands, just for the
It's
guy with the sound.
It seems like that because it's the same here in Australia. I think you could. It's like the scene. It's almost like a microcosm. You could pull out things that are same everywhere in the world, be it Brazil, America, Australia. I know we had the same problem in the underground and the local scene. Some shows you'll have a handful of people, and others will
Yeah.
be packed venues. It's hit and miss sometimes. You know what I mean? I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah. Most of the times it's empty venues, but when you got like, even if you like playing just for the bands, it's really good to connect with the other
Yeah,
bands, and we made a lot of friends. Was fun, and I think it's nice because to be like that, because you can see the metal. It's kind of a whole independent ecosystem from the music industry.
yeah,
Even on the mainstream metal, the local scene is like something you can survive. You can make your art, you can
yep.
make your thing happen without relying on anything. You
Yeah, and you
just
have
like,
got the record labels coming in and going, you need to do this, or someone else having control of your music and your project and your art, as I always call music art because it is. You know, when you're in the underground scene and you're a little the independent signed or whatever, you can kind of have that freedom to go and create and not have that control. And yeah, sometimes the shows are hit and miss, but that scene is so tight, the local and underground scene. You find, as you just mentioned, you'll find you'll be playing on stage and you'll have the bands that you're supporting sitting there in the crowd singing along to your songs as well and supporting you. And same goes, you come off stage, you support the bands that you're playing with as well. That's what it's about with these underground and local scenes. And also, like with merch, when you sell merch or you have CDs, it's probably you go back, you sell your merch after your show, you're standing behind your merch stand, meeting the
exactly.
fans and the people that come up to your show and watch you. And you're not going to get that with these big whatever bands playing these big festivals or these big money fucking corporations that are only there to make and take your money, dude. Whereas guys like yourselves in the underground scene are always committed to the fans, the art, and the music and what they're creating.
Yeah, what I'm feeling is, it was, I mean, before the internet pops up, I mean, around 2005, 2006, the local shows was more packed. Like,
Yep.
but I don't know what happened. But people are not coming to the shows like they used to do. I think most because of streaming, and I don't know actually, but
Yeah, it's hard.
used yeah used to do. I mean, it's funnier when you play for more people, but
Yep.
I mean, we love what we do, so
It
we
is
gotta
what it
keep
is.
doing whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So can
The,
we talk about this album? This is a fucking killer album. I jumped over. I grabbed a couple of tracks from the Burn Up This Truth, which is due August 10th. So I highly recommend everyone jumping over. I think it's to your Bandcamp, isn't it? Is that the best place that people can get along and support you guys?
yeah, I mean, we released our first EP on
Yep.
Bandcamp, but the
And the
thing
horror
is,
begins.
we never used Bandcamp that much. So we met this. Uh, we got a PR guy now,
Yep.
and because I we got to the point where, like,
Keeps
if
it
we want to
infecting
step
cells.
up a little, yeah,
He's
that
cool. He's a good guy, man. He's a really good guy.
yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Yep.
He's been doing like a great job for us. Really appreciate his job, and he kind of opens our vision because our plan was just like, we spent like 10 years doing this album, and by that point we have no strategy. We're
Yep.
like, we're just gonna upload on YouTube and copy and paste the link. Some, I don't know. We didn't even know what we're gonna do with the album. So wow, we need to do something. We need to do something. So I met that guy. I think you know him as Matt Bacon.
Yep.
He's a guy. He doing advising
Yep.
bands.
Okay.
He's doing a great job too. And he introduced us to Keith. And then we got, no, we're gonna do this, this, and that. And now we got to Bandcamp. And after he taught us about Bandcamp, I think it's a great, great, great place. So if you want to put your music, it has to be on Bandcamp because it got it's the most friendly interface for bands and people who are willing to support bands.
Yeah.
Because if there's somebody listen your stuff on Bandcamp, uh, other than other channels, I mean, they are on Bandcamp because they like to support bands.
Yep.
They want to support. They want to buy your stuff. They want to help you. They want to see you somewhere far. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
if they're like me, I'm the same. I realise I have a Bandcamp account. I buy heaps of music through there, and like I always support. Even when I'm doing a chat with someone like you, I'll always jump over to the Bandcamp and buy the album, the digital copy, buy some merch if they got merch. I'm all about supporting the scene, and you hit it right the nail right on the head there. If people are heading over to Bandcamp or whatever, I know that the numbers aren't there like they are with Spotify, but they're heading over to Bandcamp and they're going to support with some money. They're only heading over to Bandcamp to check out some music and buy an album and listen to some music and buy merch or whatever. And yeah, I know it's not as big as the others, but they don't take as big a percentage. And I know when I'm putting money onto Bandcamp, I know most of it, I know they take a percentage, but I know that most of it does go to the bands and supporting bands like yourself and bringing out albums like this, Burn Up This Truth. That's like you said, 10 years in the making. You've had, all these different life events happen, kick your ass. You're over the back, had to go to Brazil, your brother in America, and you've worked together. You've obviously had this creative flow since you were young lads playing together, man. It would have been, oh, fuck, what do we do now with, Behind the Horror?
yeah, was kind of because we're starting to writing these songs. Burn Up This Truth. Burn Up This Truth. It's basically, I think it has like maybe 8 years, 7 years that we wrote the song.
Yeah.
And then during this whole time, we were like, all the moments we're just trying to like making those songs to get to the point we didn't know what to do with all the stuff. Like, yep. 10 years of work, finished, done. We like did all by the, like, let's try to do the perfect thing we can do.
Yep.
What else? What are we gonna do with that? And then we got to Keith and Bandcamp. I mean, talk about Bandcamp and ways to support bands. When you got to the stream platforms like Spotify, and a lot of them, they have, I mean, you got like 0.000001 from stream. I mean,
you can't even buy a pack of chewing gum, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you can, I don't know, and you're gonna, I did the math, because you have, you can get the numbers from big name artists, and you can see like, this guy was streamed, I don't know, many thousand times. And if you're gonna see, it's not that much the guys are doing too. I mean, if you're gonna, and you think, if you're gonna be famous, like a big whole name, this is not even paying my day of work here. So
yeah. At least when you go to those small shows, you can at least get some beer money.
Yeah. Or else.
Yeah. I want to talk about the song Storm Rage and Outland. I'm loving the sound of this, dude. I really enjoy the shit out of the debut EP and The Horror Begins, because as you can see, I'm a mad Sepultura fan. My first ever tattoo was a Soulfly tattoo on my arm up here, dude. Mad Max fan. And I picked those vibes, and I could tell, kind of listening to you guys, if I didn't know your bio, that you could kind of have those South American roots, because it just, the sound of it is fucking really good, dude. And yet you come to this album and you haven't decided to do the same thing. You have had it's Behind the Horror. It's great sound, but it's a little different too. The sound and the style of Storm Rage and Outland is really, really cool, and I enjoy bands that don't just sit in their comfort zone and really push. And I love the sound of those two songs. They are really, really good. It excited me for the album, dude.
Really glad that you like it, man, because we Storm Rage was like we're trying. all of our songs we're trying to get out from that producer style of songs, like intro, verse, chorus, verse, solo, like that formula. And when I wrote Storm Rage, I was like, no, I need to do something really different. And if you notice, the song doesn't have a chorus.
Yep.
The solo is really short and it's not really that. Uh, because something I really trying to get out to is to, I mean, I really like to solo. I really like to play guitar on, but I was kind of oversaturated with those bands trying to compete to see who's the best guitarist, can play fast, who can play the most complex solos, and I don't know. I mean, I like that too. I really like I've been studying all the scales and all that stuff, but I'm more kind of riff guy. So I love let me do something really different. And then I made Storm Rage. Like it's an intro. I mean, I can't even describe
Yeah.
because you're gonna listen. The song doesn't even repeat repeated by the end and ends like in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of experimental, but I mean, we're trying to do something different than all the stuff we already got, because we're gonna, if you want to listen some producer stuff, because uh, all the big bands today are working with producers,
Yeah.
and sometimes you listen more to the producer than the band itself. I mean, if you're gonna for example, the last Aussie album was made by the producer, and the guy's not even like a metal guy. It's not even metal related. And if you like take the parts of the song, you can see all the songs sounds the same, and
Yeah.
Ozzy just came in and sing. I mean,
I
it's
can see him
good.
even waddling into the studio. I've seen Black Sabbath live. I could just see Ozzy doing his little waddle into the studio and waddling
Yeah,
out.
exactly. So we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to, no, if we're gonna do something, we're gonna create something. We're not gonna like copy and paste with our own skin. We're gonna, let's make something different, and that's making us even afraid of for the next album, because we're already planning the
Yeah.
next album, and we're trying, man, we're gonna, can we make something like this like we did before, or are we gonna like do the same? I don't
Yep.
know, but I mean, glad
Yeah.
you like the songs. All the songs have like a story behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool, man. I'm looking forward to this, dude. Outland was the other track off it, dude, and I dare say you guys would have been pretty busy in this. I suppose without you've got work, I suppose it's hard to kind of keep
Yeah,
laying down music. But in playing live, I suppose that's off the cards for a while. I've been watching it over in the US, and these are way worse than over here in Australia too. We've got it pretty good. We've got one state that's getting hammered at the moment with that COVID, but what's the chances of you guys getting on stage at all 2020? Probably not really. Pretty slim.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did some shows last year, and was really cool. It was kind of mini tour around. It was like the first time we were playing around.
Yeah.
So we met some guys, and it was really nice. We got even it's like a mini documentary. We was filming a lot, and I made the all the stuff by myself. You can check it out in our YouTube channel. We got a
Yeah.
pretty cool stuff there too.
I will, man.
And I mean, for this year, I mean, there's some venues that are making shows here, but we're not ready yet,
Yeah.
because we really like to rehearse. We got so we're gonna play with because we don't have a bassist, so we
Yeah.
basically have to do the bass before, and we don't like to do the bass the same way as on the CD, because
Yeah.
we want to give a unique experience, even if you're like, because most like bands like Animals as Leaders, and I mean, there's a lot of bands they're not playing with the
Yeah,
basses.
yeah. I was going to say that. I've actually spoken to a couple of bands over the last couple of weeks that don't have bassists. I have had a chat with Kyle from a band called Barbarossa, and they're a deathcore band, dude. And they just got 2 guitarists, 2 vocalists, and a drummer. No bassist, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because we really wanted to have a bassist, but the problem is, it's not even with the bass because we use the bass. I record all the
Yeah.
basses,
Yep.
but it's the bassist, man. I don't know what these guys are.
It's hard. I had this conversation the other day where I can't even recall who I was talking to about it, but they said it took them a little bit to get a good group of guys to gel with and click with as a band. They had a couple of lineup changes, and it's hard to find, because you're with your brother. You and your brother would be so close, and you just have your little groove and how you create music and what you do. And to bring someone else on board, they would have to click with you guys as a band, and it's a little family as well. You want someone to come in and be creative and add to the project as well, but you gotta gel. It's like a family, dude. You just can't bring someone in and go, oh well, we don't even really like
That's
them.
the thing. And I mean, our first bassist, the guy who recorded "And the Hour Begins," was, the guy is amazing.
Yeah.
We grow up like was me, him, and my brother. We grow up musically together. Like we learn together. We like always together. But then when we need to step up, so we need more compromise. We need more rehearsal. We need more, resources. We need make more stuff with the band, and the guys just don't want to do that. Like, and if you're
And
gonna,
it's a tough slog.
yeah, the guy doesn't even need to play that good, but he needs to be like in a band. And you need, like, if you go, I made an appointment for a rehearsal. The guy doesn't show, and you made a lot of stuff counting on him, and he doesn't care. So we rather, and we have a lot of bases like in the same way. Like
Yep.
we kind of have 5 bases trying one after another. The guys can play good, and another. But the biggest point was nobody wants to compromise.
Yeah.
And I think most of the bands don't get there, not because they're not playing a great sound. It's because the guys not compromise. Because it's not, we can call it a business, but you need to handle like a business. You need your schedule. You need to be on top of your skills. You need to be like sharp with everything. Like you need to communicate with people. You need to, it's a business. If you want to go higher, you need to have that kind of commitment.
Yeah. And the
That doesn't
work
work.
and the hard work that's involved. People don't realize how hard it is to work as an underground band coming up through the ranks. You have to work so hard. And like you said, you don't make any money doing this, dude. We do this for the love of it. Like every metalhead, mate, we do this because we love the shit out of it, knowing that we're probably never going to make a great deal of money, but we're going to love the hell out of it every minute of it.
That's true. And by that time, we were only losing money, but I don't say losing because I want to think like an investment.
Yeah. So
But
what was the recording and production process like, being that that you kind of avoided that? Did you produce a lot of this, or how'd you go with this?
it's all DIY.
Yeah, it's good, man.
The And the Horror Begins was, we got once again, we got a project to the government in Brazil, and we put a project to record a CD, and they approved the project, sent us the money, and it was like a fair amount of money that I was already looking to how to record myself and all that stuff. And then I don't think I'm gonna throw this money on a studio or on a producer.
No.
I'm gonna try to build my own stuff.
That's good.
And then we got our own recording kit. We got an interface. We got a fair enough computer and a electronic drum kit, because we don't want to like only to write the stuff. And then we started learning how to record. It was
Yeah.
a tough process, right? It takes like if you're gonna record on a studio, maybe you can record in like a day or two on a weekend. But then we have to record and record again, and it was a process. But the payoff was really good because we recorded the whole album, and then we kept the stuff to record another one.
Yep.
And then that's why when we started to record the Burn Up This Truth and a lot of other stuff. We got another band. It's me, my brother, and another bassist.
Give him a shout out.
It's Out Death. OUTDETH.
Yeah, out
Out
death.
Death.
Out death.
It's like instrumental progressive
Yeah, cool, man.
project.
And that'd be good
It's
for you and your brother having that recording studio too, because you've both probably got day jobs, and it's a bit much to plug in a heap of money into studio time. So after your work, you could come home and do a couple of hours if you're feeling up to it in recording some music or laying down some riffs, and that would be the joy of, I suppose, playing with your brother all these years. You'd probably have your moments where brotherly love, of course, but but then you would work so well together,
yeah.
and then you could sit down and just riff off each other. That would be just such a good thing, man.
Yeah, that was like a really, really good stuff for us because um, one of the biggest problems with the drums, with the acoustic set, you can't play it anywhere. Like you need to have a far away home from I don't know, and even I mean they call the police a lot on us
Yeah, I use her in New
back in there.
Jersey, so it'd be a built-up area, it's a big city area and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They don't appreciate it like the Brazilian government. I think that's pretty cool how Brazilian
no,
government
yeah.
is like, go record an album, man. Like, hear that, Australia? Learn from the Brazilian government, dude. Go
Yeah.
support your metal bands. Make some metal albums.
Yeah, I can't complain about that, but the police, but, I mean, some of the guys, well, I know your guys are playing, but neighbors, they don't like it. But okay, we're gonna. So we built this electronic set in a way we could like play in the middle of the night just with headphones, and
Yeah,
it's the best sound we could do
yeah,
because
cool.
I mean, we use an interface, like an audio interface, plug it in
Yep.
the computer, and the drums also the same way. So I can have all the amps I want. I can have all the effects I want. He can use all the kinds of kits and drum stuff, and like in a 6 square feet. It was really amazing. I mean, and we can see us doing something different,
Yep.
even because like it was really expensive because by the last year we ran a space and we
Oh,
started to build our studio, and we bought a lot of like the acoustic set. But then coronavirus came and we lost our jobs and we couldn't
yeah.
keep the stuff, so we were getting back to digital.
Yep.
And I mean, we shouldn't have left the digital because like it's practical, it's easy, and
Yeah.
creative because you can't you can't like set the time for creative.
No,
Sometimes
that's
you're
it.
just like, I need to record this. I mean, I can't count how many riffs I lost, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
It
It
is
is
what it
what it
is.
is.
And the album, man, it's going to be really good. I can't recommend enough that everyone gets along and grabs this Burn Up This Truth, man. It's a killer album, man. And I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for you guys, dude. And I'm really going to keep an eye on you guys and going forward from this, checking out your career. And I really do hope you guys bring out a ton more albums, man. Have a killer career. And I'm hoping to have a chat with you when the album drops on in August. We'll get up, we'll
Sure.
have another chat again, and we'll chuck something up on the podcast as well, dude. But I'm going to sign out here, bro. I'm going to let you get onto your night. I'm going to go and wake up my little midget and get her ready for school. So
Awesome.
before I sign out, Gabriel, last words, shout outs, or thank yous, man.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate your work. Like you're in the same boat as us. You're doing this for love. You're doing this as a passion. because like metal beats in your heart, and
Yep.
what can we do? And really appreciated what you're doing. Really appreciate that you like our songs. And for all the guys that are listening to this interview, hope you guys enjoy the album as well. And we're gonna release Burn Up This Truth August 10. I mean,
Get onto it.
10 years, yes.
Crank it
So
loud.
stay tuned and see you the
Keep
next
those
time.
horns up. Gabriel, thank you very much. Everyone get along to their Bandcamp. Grab the And the Horror Begins. That's their debut EP. It came out in 2013. It's a crack and listen. If you head over, you can pre-order the Burn Up This Truth. There's 2 tracks on there, Storm Rage and Outland. Really cool tracks. It'll prime you up for the album to drop August 10th. Gabriel, massive horns from Australia, bro. Talk soon, man.
Thanks a lot, man. See
Thank
ya.
you.